Hi, and welcome to my podcast for Interpersonal Part 2, C640 with Dr. Shu. Hi, Dr. Shu. So today we will be discussing interpersonal relationships, but specifically we will be discussing online romantic dating relationships. Ooh. So, myself, I've created an online dating profile at some point, and I know many people who have as well. And today we're going to be kind of focusing on this concept of identity, self, and profile creation. So within this podcast, we're kind of focusing on this concept. I will be trying to prove to you that the self that we portray on an online dating romantic profile is actually, in fact, our true self. Now, it is a version of our true self, but it is still the self, and it is still our true self. Today, I will be trying to prove that to you through three main points. First, selective self-presentation is still self. Secondly, we do warrant the information we put up there, and we verify it and give it value, meaning the information we put up there is true. And thirdly, we'll be examining the power of the internet, and specifically the power of triangulation, the different techniques people use to verify this information, meaning that the information we put out there is a version of ourself, even it is ourself. So, speaking of online dating profiles, I know I myself have created one at some point. I know a lot of people who have friends and family, and we all kind of come back to this concept of who are we? It comes back to this identity, and the identity that we create for ourselves when we step out of our homes and live our daily lives, and also the identity that we create online, whether that's in regular social media or on an online profile. We create this persona. And my argument today is that, in fact, this persona is ourself. It is what we would like to become, and it is what we are, because it is what we are becoming, and it is what we put out there. So, let's talk about this building of the profile. Let's talk about this concept of selective self-presentation. Now, in 1959, Goffman defines selective self-presentation as basically the means by which the communicator is able to convey a derived impression of themselves to others. So how they present themselves to others, how they would like to be seen. In a more modern day setting, Thoma and Hancock in 2010 gave selective self-presentation this definition of being specifically directed towards online profiles, being an overwhelmingly positive inflation of the self. So, in essence, on online dating profiles, we create this persona that doesn't have negative information. Rather, it is an overwhelming amount of positive information. Now, why do we do this? Now, Thoma and Hancock of 2010 write that essentially that we do this because to enhance attraction and to enhance our social status. Taking pictures of us out with friends, things like that, making us look like other people like us, as well as, our socioeconomic status. So we're looking at these things, and this is what selective self-presentation is. And this happens not only on romantic dating sites, but also social media sites. There's this meme that's been going around recently that kind of addresses this. It's essentially like a family member talking to the individual, and for example, they say, "Oh, it looks like you're having so much fun at college. It must be so nice to have a stress-free life." And the response is, "Well, I don't post pictures of me crying in the library, Karen." It's just an example of, hey, we post only or very few negative things about our world on social media because we don't want everybody to necessarily see everything. we do have a means, a heightened means to shape ourselves into being seen how we want to be seen. However, that is still our real self, because it is us. The things we post out there are positive, but they are still things about us at the individual. So Thoma et al. Of 2008 found that people generally avoid using blatant lies within their romantic dating profiles, meaning people aren't necessarily going to straight up lie about things. Now, they might stretch the truth a little bit with weight and height, that this study also found, but they will not lie or create a blatant lie that can discredit them. Which kind of leads us into a really interesting place where the information out there is essentially just a positive information about the self, which isn't it a part of ourselves. Even you could make the argument that even in our personal lives, in our daily lives as we go about things, from the clothes we wear to how we act within certain people, it's a persona. It's a selective self-presentation. Food for thought. Things to think about. But this all kind of goes into our next main point, which is the information that is that is put out there should be warranted, that it isn't, or verified. So, DeAndrea of 2014 states that a warrant is, quote, any information that authenticates or legitimizes an online self-presentation, found on page 187. So, a warrant is essentially the information that is verified by, that can be verified. For example, if you write within your online dating profile that you like going to the gym, you might include a picture of yourself at the gym. This is like, hey, look, I go to the gym, and insert picture of you at gym. It legitimizes the information that you put within your profile even more. And basically, this is very important to people in general. Walters of 2011 found that it is reliable information about a potential partner's offline self is also important. So it's very important that the information on the profile is close and very accurate to what the individual is like in real life. So this kind of leads us into this warranting aspect, that the information that is presented is true, and the information that is presented needs to be backed up or can be backed up and verified. And so many people use this warranting cues to reduce uncertainty about different things within the profile and to legitimize the person that they're talking to. And why this often happens is because of this notion of catfishing that's out there. So if you don't know what catfishing is where you're talking to someone on like an online romantic profile, and it turns out they're not who you thought they were. You thought they were a nice 20-something girl. They turn out to be a 50-year-old man living in Idaho. It's a whole nother gamut of things. And there's been several celebrities who this has happened to, several famous people. But recently, some examples I can think of is Matty Teo, a Notre Dame football player in 2013 who was catfished, but it got very public and it really brought to light and highlighted a lot of the potential dangers of online dating, which, is why we have people being so suspicious of people's profiles, of having this need for other information about the individual, this need for warranting cues. Additionally, in a more recent example, in 2007, within the show Madam Secretary, Dr. McCord's father is actually catfished by his neighbor, who ends up stealing a lot of money from Mr. McCord. And it's very tragic and very sad. But we learn about, hey, these scams are out there, which makes us worry. And maybe, food for thought, maybe all this comes from all these, these scams that have been perpetuated on the internet since the start of the internet. Now, not saying that is the only thing from the internet, but, all those emails that I got about that Nigerian prince in 2000, oh boy, those made me very suspicious about spam emails, which, can lead to today, but also we don't necessarily believe everything that is put out there. So we need these warranting claims that we desire this information, which in turn leads us more to my third main point, and that is the power of the internet. So we look at the power of the internet has a lot of ties to this concept of warranting information that is put out there. So oftentimes the internet links different profiles, it links different information, it creates a lot of things out there. Now I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and YouTube, you have to create a profile, and that profile is linked to your Gmail, which is linked to a lot of different things. And it creates this, personal representation of yourself. That, yes, you might only put the positive things out there, but not, that is actually a part of your life. It is you. So, for example, the dating app Tinder often uses Facebook as kind of a verification tool. So, you're not creating 6 different Tinder profiles and catfishing people. And this is, you might be able to see, oh, me and this person, we matched. We have 3 mutual friends. Oh, hey, this friend knows that I went to high school with, knows them. Oh, this makes a lot of sense. So it's a way to make the individual you're seeing more, have more warranting power, but also you're seeing more information about them. Most dating profiles would like your name and your location. This is searchable information, which with the power of the internet can be very, very powerful. Now, Gibbs, Ellison, and Lai of 2011 found that online daters very often use triangulation strategies. So what this means is that online daters generally use different means of verifying that this person is who they say they are. So whether that is checking them out on Facebook, or finding more information about them on the internet, and also with, maybe calling in a face-to-face meeting. So does their dating profile, online social media, and themselves all match up? We're looking at, a triangulation of information about an individual. So whether that's information that they tell you or things like that, a lot of information about the individual is put out there. Recently with all the Facebook debacle with the United States government about getting hacked and their information leaked, brings up all these questions about security online. Because today, we put a lot of information about the self online. And essentially, we construct our identity online as well as in the real world. And so it is our real self that we are representing online. Or at least that is my argument. So, kind of moving into this, that we are necessarily ourselves in a digital world. We become more and more of what we put online, and also that what we are So within dating profiles, we create a profile picture. We write a small bio about ourselves, but these are true information about ourselves. It might be very positive, but it is still true information. So when we look at these like different triangulation strategies that people use, focusing on, using this power of the internet, using these resources that people have, there's a lot of information on individuals out there. Whether that is their dating profile is linked to their other social media accounts, or even having their name and their general location of where they live. Like in the United States, you can type in someone's name and town, and there's some sites you can go on and you can find tax records of where they resided, and you can do that through like Yellow Pages or whitepages.com. Many people do that. You can find information about who they're associated with. You can find sometimes their home phone number. This is a lot of scary information. Now, I don't mean to say this to make people nervous. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of ways that people are able to verify other individuals. And this creates, almost in my mind, a tad bit of more security. So you find more information out about this person, you realize they're a real person, and that, that uncertainty about the other individual reduces. And so, essentially, you've created this profile about yourself to attract a potential mate. You're not necessarily going to put negative things about yourself out there. Now, this is similar to face-to-face dating, where you might not put out your negative things on several of the first dates, but a lot of times this social media or online dating profile relationship stuff is in fact what many people might refer to as, the first date, this first meeting up step. You're just talking, whether you're talking on an online dating profile site or, in your algebra class. You might be seeing two very different things. You might be seeing the same things. You might be having the same interactions, talking and texting, whether it's on this dating site or perhaps face-to-face. And then when you, take it to the next level and you build that relationship, you divulge this potentially negative information about yourself. Now, it just leads to the fact that we want the truth, that we want to see the true self. But at the end of the day, we are who we would like to be. We, the individual, has the choice to become and do what they would like to do. As Dr. Danker says, we all make choices, which we do. And those choices oftentimes affect who we are. And they are essentially, in a lot of cases, what we are at a very, very deep level. So we got very, very deep today. But what I think is very interesting, and hopefully I prove to you my point, is that today in this digital world, we are more and more and more what we present online, this identity that we present online, and that negative information is seen as very private, which could lead into a bit of communication privacy management, in which that trust and that trust level is built up to find out, here's the negative information about this person. The more they trust you, the more the relationship is built, the more that they will engage in this relationship. And as we can see that today, that's going into other mediums, such as LinkedIn has been created for professional individuals. And that is supposed to highlight your positive professional persona online. So this selective self-presentation is used on social media. It's used in online dating, but it's also used even in the professional world now. And it's used all around us, even when we step out of the house just to go to the grocery store. So today we discussed how self-presentation is still the self, how we have to warrant this information because the information in fact is true. We just need to warrant it. And then there's the power of the internet, which reduces people's ability to scam or lie to other people. So thank you very much for listening today. I really appreciate you listening in. And this is Elizabeth Fish signing off. Hope you have a great day. Bye.